Hunters have been after me for some time to do a how-to video on how to call hogs. Well, I've been calling hogs successfully for about 10 years, but I've been hunting hogs for 24, 25 years now, and I didn't get good at calling hogs until I got good at hunting hogs. And that may not make sense to some people, but there are a lot of aspects involved in hog hunting, such as sign, territories, vocalizations, have different types of habitat, and hog population. If you don't have hogs, you're not going to call hogs. I don't want people to think that you're going to go out and buy a call and buy my sounds or anybody else's sounds and instantly be successful. It's probably not going to happen that way. If you have a high enough density of hogs in your hunting area, yes, it is possible. You may be one of the lucky or blessed guys that just goes out there and turns on a call and boom, here they come. It can happen. But really and truly, I want people to learn all the aspects of hog hunting and all the sign and communications and habits of hogs prior to going out and learning to call hogs, because you're missing a whole array of different methods of hunting. Calling hogs is just a tool. It's not something that you need to rely on solely. It's phenomenal when it works. It's just incredible to see these animals come in hard and ready to fight. But as I said, you need to be able to hunt hogs in several methods, not just this one method. It's just another tool of the trade. The first thing you need to look for when you're going to try hunting hogs or calling hogs, either one, is you need to know if you've got hogs. And if you live in the state of Texas, with the exception of some of the desert areas, chances are you've got hogs. So the most obvious sign is seeing hogs in the field. One of the second signs and most obvious signs in finding hogs is rooting. They root for several different reasons. They root for grubs, they root for different types of insects, invertebrates, reptiles, all kinds of larvas, tubers, roots and bulbs from all kinds of plants. The landowner has all but had to abandon this field due to the devastation hogs have caused. I don't know if this shows how deep these are, but I'll try to demonstrate it. That's how deep these holes are, and it's like that all through here. Look where all these hogs have rooted in here. We tore that up, looks like a plow. When you see sign like this on a sunny day, you can bet the hogs have been here within the hour. And this is what they're after, nutgrass. When you're looking at rooted areas, also if you have a lot of heavy timber, there'll be big logs in there that look like a bear has just ripped them apart and dug all the insides out. And a lot of times the hogs will root those big logs apart because they're full of insect larvae. Different types of invertebrates, reptile and amphibian eggs will be in that rotting material or decaying material inside that log. And that's one of the things they're after. Another obvious sign that you have hogs are wallows. Wallows can be found along streams, ponds, tanks, just small depressions that catch and hold water. And you'll see the imprint of the body of a hog, and you'll see tracks, and a lot of times you can even see the imprint of their hair in the mud. And wallows serve several purposes, but the main one is to cool hogs off. They have to have the ability to cool themselves down because they can't sweat. So they regulate their body temperature with mud. Another aspect of it is that it traps external parasites in that mud. And then that leads to our fourth obvious sign that you have hogs, which is rubs. Once hogs get this mud caked on them, they like to get up against a rough barked tree, some type of rough surface, a rock like this one I'm sitting on, steep banks, just about anything that they can rub on, they're going to rub on. Well, in the process, it scratches that mud off of them, and the insects come off with it. Ticks and lice are the main ones that they have, that they're plagued with. Water's too clear for him to have been in here today. This is a hog rub. That's a really good hog rub. They've used that one a lot over the years. They've rubbed that tree completely smooth. They also prefer telephone poles. They have creosote or whatever that they're soaked in nowadays. Any type of petroleum-based oil, transmission fluid, grease, anything like that that's been soaked into something, they'll wallow in it, they'll rub on it, and I'm assuming that it is soothing to their skin, and it helps remove insects again, external parasites. It'll kill the ticks and fleas and lice, whatever they happen to have on them. If we measured that diameter, you would be able to tell they've probably knocked 1/4 of an inch off of that pole down here low where they've been rubbing it. That's one of the things you look for. You can tell the hogs have really rubbed this pole and wallowed out the ground around it. If you look closely, you can see cut marks where the big boars have cut it with their tusks. Hogs leave signposts. Some rubs serve as a dual purpose. They serve as a place to remove insects and to scratch and remove mud from their bodies, but they also serve as signposts. They're the equivalent to a buck rub. The big boars, if you'll look at some of the telephone poles, you'll see cut marks on that pole, and those big boars will cut that and they rub a gland that's on the side of their face, and they've got one on their chin, and they rub those glands on those areas. They also rub on their feet. You'll see boars a lot of times kneel down, and I don't know if they're rubbing the gland from their chin on their feet or if they're getting something from their interdigital glands on their face. Either way, it's a scent marking process, and they use those same scents they leave on those signposts. The more common signpost is a tree about this diameter, about the size of a broom handle. And if you look at them closely, if they've been used for any length of time or in an area where there's a lot of boars, they'll have a lot of chew marks on them, a lot of scars, a lot of knots and ripples on them where they've been worked over the years. Of course, they also leave mud on these. They'll leave saliva on them, they'll leave cut marks, they'll chew on them. They've got, like I say, they've got a gland on the side of their face, and you'll see a lot of boars have a rubbed out spot about the size of a baseball, and that gland is in that area. And when they're little bitty, you can see it, and as they mature, it's hard to see. But signposts are a really good area to hunt. If you've got a heavily used trail with signposts on it, there are gonna be boars coming through there. That signpost lets sows know there's boars in the area. It also lets other boars know, hey, this is my turf. Here's a signpost. It's got fresh slobber still on it, still wet. Dang, they cut it way up there. Another sign that a lot of hog hunters don't get to see are nests. Hogs make huge nests. Some of them will be 3-4 feet tall and 8 or 10 feet in diameter, and they'll be made out of grasses similar to this. They clip it off close to the ground and they pile it up. If that's not available, they'll take whatever they can find. I've seen them made out of sticks. I've seen them made out of bushes and grass and leaves, you name it, and they'll pile that up and make a hole underneath it, and they'll get in there and have their pigs, and they'll stay there for 24 to 48 hours before they start really getting out and moving around. This is a pig nest. They've gotten in here and had their babies in this big nest. At one time it was probably about this high. You can see they've cleared the brush around it to pile this up. That's where they have their babies. When they're a few days old, they start following them away from there. Another sign is hog beds. Hog beds are generally located in extreme dense or thick areas. Hogs like to bed in a place of sanctuary, and a lot of times those sanctuary have variable winds, which means that wind is swirling there constantly. So it's real hard to get in close to those areas without being detected. You're either going to make a lot of noise or the wind is going to change on you and they're going to smell you. These comfort zones, a lot of times those beds will be real obvious, where they've cleaned out an area of litter to bed down in, or sometimes they just mound the leaves or debris up and sleep on top of it. Another area that I found beds out, like in the desert areas in West Texas and stuff, is in the summertime on the north face of the bluffs where those draws start to erode away. Right up under that bank, those boars will carve out an area under there, and they'll bed right up against that so that the sun is at their back all day long and never really shines on them. And those are pretty good areas to hunt if you can access them. If you look right under these trees, you can see there's some old beds, and this is where the pigs. There's a hog laying here. There's one here. This is where a pig nest used to be. Maybe somebody's bedded here since then. Just made them a bed where that old nest was. There's got to be pigs in here, as much sign as we're seeing. Let's go see if we can find them. Wherever you find hog sign of any type, there's going to be trails. And you've got to learn to tell what those tracks look like. Wherever the trails are, there's going to be hog tracks on them. There's also going to be deer tracks, coyote tracks, bobcat tracks, cattle, you name it. There's going to be just about every kind of track in the world on those trails. But the hogs generally like to use good, clear trails. Even one that has been mortally wounded, he'll 90% of the time stay on that trail until right before he expires. So learn to tell what the tracks look like and what the trails look like. Obviously, if a trail goes up to a fence and disappears, keeps going, it's going to be smaller animals. It's not made by cattle. Where hogs cross under the fence, there's going to be mud or hog hair stuck in the bottom wire, sometimes the two bottom wires. But always look for those trails. Big hog. That's freaking huge. Another thing to look for, especially near bedding areas or near feeding areas, there are going to be places where the hogs like to use the restroom. Now they're going to drop fecal matter or hog droppings, whatever you want to call it, along the trails from time to time. But near their bedding areas and near their feeding areas, there is going to be a designated spot where nearly all of them will come to use the bathroom. I hope this has answered a few questions for some of you new hunters. I'm going to do a whole series of these videos. I'm not sure how many at this time, and I'm not sure at what frequency I'll be able to publish them because it takes a while to put them together. But I want everybody that's interested in hog hunting to be successful and hopefully learn from these videos. That's what they're here for. Follow us on YouTube, and if you have any questions, you can shoot them to me on YouTube, or you can go and like Hog Zombies on Facebook and ask me those questions there. Send them to me in a private message. If it's a really good question, I'll publish it. So I appreciate you guys watching, and if you have any questions or are there any interests that you would like for me to cover, please send me the messages and let me know.